The United States government is $36 trillion in debt. That's $36 trillion. They will never pay this back. Not with taxes, not with spending cuts, not with economic growth. But they will pay it back. And you're going to be the one who pays for it, whether you know it or not. My name is Alex, and today I'm going to show you the real reason your dollars are losing value. And it has nothing to do with supply chains or corporate greed. It's about math. Cold, brutal math. The U.S. national debt is $36 trillion and growing by about $1 trillion every 100 days. That's $100,000 of debt for every single American citizen. $300,000 per taxpayer. Here's what should terrify you. The interest payments on this debt are now over $1 trillion per year. That's more than the entire U.S. military budget. We're paying more just to service the debt than we spend on defense. So here's the question nobody wants to ask. How do you pay back $36 trillion when your entire economy only produces $27 trillion per year? The answer is, you don't. Not with today's dollars anyway. But there is a way to pay it back. And this is where it gets dark. You borrow money today in strong dollars, dollars that can buy a lot. Then you print more money. You keep interest rates artificially low. You let inflation run hot. And 10 years later, you pay back that debt in dollars that are worth half as much. If inflation runs at 8% per year for a decade, that $1 trillion in debt you borrowed is only worth about $463 billion in real purchasing power when you pay it back. You just cut your debt in half without actually paying anything. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is how governments have dealt with unpayable debt for thousands of years. Devalue the currency. It's the oldest trick in the book. And guess who pays for it? Here's who wins and who loses in this scheme. Winners. The U.S. government. Their debt burden shrinks in real terms. Asset owners, stocks, real estate, gold, all rise with inflation. Anyone with debt, they get to pay it back in devalued currency. Notice a pattern? The wealthy win. Because wealthy people don't hold cash, they hold assets. Losers. Anyone holding cash, your savings are melting. Retirees on fixed income. Your Social Security isn't keeping up. Workers. Your salary raises lag inflation. The middle class. You get destroyed from every angle. And foreign countries holding U.S. debt. China, Japan. They're watching their trillions in treasury bonds lose value every single day. This is why your grocery bill doubled. This is why your rent is up 40%. This is why you feel broke, even though you got raises. Your dollars are the adjustment mechanism for government debt. You're paying off $36 trillion through the silent tax of inflation. And here's why this is accelerating right now. The debt is growing exponentially. We're adding $1 trillion every 100 days. That's $10 billion per day in new debt. And here's the trap. The more debt you have, the more interest you pay. The more interest you pay, the more you need to borrow. The more you borrow, the higher interest rates need to be. But you can't let interest rates go higher, because then you can't afford the interest payments. So the only option? Keep rates low, let inflation run, devalue the currency. It's not a choice. It's a mathematical certainty. So what do? How do you protect yourself from being the one who pays for $36 trillion in debt? 3 things, right now. First, minimize your cash. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings for emergencies. That's it. Everything else needs to be in assets that rise with inflation. Cash is a melting ice cube. Every day you hold it, it's worth less. Second, buy assets that rise with inflation. Stocks, because companies raise their prices, so their stock prices go up. Real estate, because rents and property values rise with inflation. Gold, the classic inflation hedge for 5,000 years. Even Bitcoin, because it has a fixed supply while dollars can be printed infinitely. Third, use debt strategically. A fixed-rate mortgage is your friend in an inflationary environment. You borrow today's strong dollars to buy a house. Then you pay it back over 30 years in constantly devaluing dollars. You're using the same strategy the government uses, just on a smaller scale. Here's the difference 10 years from now. $100,000 in a savings account might still say $100,000, but it'll only buy what $46,000 buys today. You lost half your wealth. But that same $100,000 in stocks, real estate, and gold? It grows to $215,000 and actually maintains your purchasing power. Maybe even grows it. Same starting point, completely different ending. Look, I wish I could tell you this was all going to work out. I wish I could say the government will get spending under control, pay down the debt, and your dollars will be safe. But the math doesn't lie. $36 trillion in debt, with $1 trillion in annual interest payments, and growing by $10 billion per day? There's only one way this ends. Currency devaluation. Inflation. Your purchasing power destroyed. This isn't a temporary problem. This isn't something that gets fixed in the next election cycle. This is a multi-decade mathematical certainty. The only question is, are you going to be one of the people who loses everything holding cash, or are you going to protect yourself? Here's the good news. You know now. Most people will never understand this. They'll work their whole lives, save diligently, and watch their purchasing power evaporate. And they'll never know why. But you're different. You watched this video. You understand the game now. Minimize your cash. Buy assets that rise with inflation. Use debt strategically. That's it. 3 things. You can do this today. The government is going to devalue the currency to pay off $36 trillion. That's not a conspiracy. That's math. But you don't have to be the one holding the bag. If this opened your eyes to what's really happening with your money, hit that like button and subscribe. I make videos like this every week. Real talk about the financial system and how to protect yourself. And drop a comment. How are you protecting yourself from inflation? Are you moving money into assets? Or are you still holding cash? Let's talk strategies. I read every single comment. $36 trillion. That's not going away. That's getting worse. And someone has to pay for it. Don't let it be you.